Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Berserk figure Guts by Bandai Namco. Now this is the Band of the Hulk version of Guts. This is before the events of the Eclipse. So far I've been liking these Bandai figures. I think they're really cool, so I'm really excited to see what they do with this figure. And just a reminder, I do have a membership program with YouTube. So for a low monthly fee, you get a whole bunch of extra stuff that other people aren't privileged to see. So without any further ado, roll that intro. So here he is in packaging. Now you got your S.H.Figuarts logo up here, Bandai Namco, his name down the side. You get some pretty cool artwork here. I do like that a lot. You get this open window so you can see him and some of his accessories. Berserk, all your official badges. Now, I don't know how well you can see it. I'll try to shine it a little bit. Yeah, if you see right here in the corner, got a watermark of the Band of the Hawk. Okay. I would look out for that on any boxes that you get this on. Just because if it's missing that, it probably is going to be a bootleg. That's probably something a bootleg would probably be missing. And you would definitely want to get an original opposed to the bootleg, because usually most of these bootlegs are really bad and fall apart easily and break. So keep an eye for that watermark if you ever go to pick one of these up. Matter of fact, there's a couple of them around the box, and we'll take a look at them as we go. All right. You get this picture of him right here. That looks really good. S.H.Figuarts, his name. All right. Come around here. You get, a couple of different poses that you could put them in. All the different face sculpts. And you're legal under that. You come here. You get another cool picture of him. Figuarts, his name. Now, once again, let's try to shine the light in the way. You can see that little watermark under there. All right. And like I said, as far as I'm aware, that's important because those might be things that a bootlegger may miss on their packaging. So, once again, something to keep an eye out for. On the top, you get him in another pose. S.H.Figuarts. A little bit of manga art behind him. And then underneath, you got your legal. So, that being said, let's open him up and see what he's about. So here he is out of packaging. He's an impressive looking figure. I love the overall look to him. So now let's start going through his points of articulation. So the head does move. You get a shoulder joint here with a swivel, an elbow and wrist joint. All right. You do get some movement here at the hips. You get a thigh joint here, a knee joint, and an ankle joint. Is there a swivel here? Yes, and you do get a swivel at the top of the boot. All right, so everything seems to move pretty well with him. I don't have any issues with this particular figure. Now, I will warn you, he doesn't have peg holes for his feet, so I'm going to try to get him to stand without them. So hopefully he will cooperate. I mean, he is Guts after all. All right, get him to stand. All right, so first we're going to look at the head sculpt. I like the head sculpt for him. It's definitely a good young Guts look. All right. Come around to this side. You have the iconic, break upon the bridge of his nose. All right. And what have you. I love the attention to detail to his armament. This looks really nice. I love all the detail to it. Even all the way down to his boots and what have you. So you come around here. He got his dagger holster or knife holster. Come around to this side. You can see the latches in his armor, how the plates are which is really nice. Bring this arm down. Now you can see the detailing upon his shoulder armor and his hand wrap. All right, you got the case here for his extremely big sword, the one that predates the Dragon Slayer. Come around here, pretty much the same as the other side. Bring this down. You can see his armor plated arm, which is really nice. So overall, yeah, he's a pretty good looking figure. So now let's start getting into his accessories. So first off, he does have a helmet head. All right. He has two faces that go with that. So you have this one here. All right. And this one here. All right. He has a couple of faces for this head, which is an iconic, Guts screaming. And a more mellow face. All right. He comes with a series of different hands. So for his wrapped hand, which would be his left hand, got a holding hand here, an open hand, all right, and a closed fist, all right. And then for the other side, you have an open hand, all right, a fist, a holding hand, all right. Next up, you have the dagger. So you have that knife here, and of course, you have a knife handle that goes into the holster for the knife, because of the fact that for some reason with a lot of these Japanese companies, they don't like having the weapon sheathed in there. They'd rather just give you a handle. I don't know why they do that. To me, it always feels like it's just extra parts that you don't need. And then last but not least, you have his sword. Now, as far as I'm aware of, I don't think this sword has a name. I could be wrong in that. But now let's start going through the faces. So first off, pop that off. Goodbye to that face. And we have Angry Guts face. All right. That sits on there just like that. And this would be a good one for when he's swinging his sword. He always kind of has that kind of face when he's swinging his sword. All right, let's see if I can take that one off without throwing it to the floor. All right. This one next. There it goes. All right, that fits on there pretty well. No issues with that one. And now we get into the helmet. So to put the helmet on you, that actually requires you to take the whole head off. All right. Open this up. Put that on the peg. And then, let's see. We'll get, let's do this one first. All right, that's giving me a little bit of a resistance. I was hoping to be able to put these on without actually taking the headpiece off. Let's see if I can actually do that. All right, let's take the whole head off. There it goes. All right. So there's that face there. Whoops. This will fall back. There's that face there. And of course, the visor can come down. All right. Lift it up. Pop the head off. Now, luckily, the head pops off pretty easily. So it's not that big of a pain to actually swap the faces around and swap the head back on and off. So here you got him with a more mellow look to his face. And of course, the guard can come down as that as well. So I like how easily all the faces and heads swap out. So there's no real problems with that. Now let's start getting into his hands. All right, that popped off pretty easily. Let's do the fist first. All right. Nope, that ain't on there yet. Nah, that hand don't want to go on. There it goes. All right, so that's that fist. Now, one of the things I always have a problem with the hole being in the hand and not in the wrist is sometimes the joint likes to move around, like what I'm having an issue with him. So sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult to get that on there because it wants to move on you. And there goes part of his armor. So it makes it a little bit difficult. Well, actually, that's not the hand I wanted anyway. To get things on there. It just wants to move around on you. Come on, man. Get on there. There it goes. Okay. So, straighten them up. All right. Eventually, there we go. So, after playing with it for a minute, I did get that fist on. Going to try the open hands now. Hopefully, they don't give me as much problems. I wish there was like a technique that you could do to stop that wrist from moving around. It's a shame because some figures, it is easy to do. Oh, there goes the arm. Huh. That actually made it easier. Nope. All right, so I put the two open hands on off screen just because I'm sure you guys really don't want to sit there and watch me struggle and put those on. So I'm going to try the two holding hands now to see if they'll go on. If they give me problems, then I might have to do that off screen as well. I hope they don't. Yeah, see, there's no way to stop it from moving, which is causing the problem is that it just wants to move. If it didn't want to move, it wouldn't be an issue. All right. So I wound up putting these hands on too off screen just because it's a lot easier to do. Okay. So now we're going to get into his weapon. So first, I'm going to just sit this in here. All right. Deuce. Okay, so this goes like this. All right. So there's the dagger head in there. Fits nicely. No issues. Now, something you may want to do with those hands is you may want to just soak them in some hot water, soften them up. They may go on a little bit easier. But the whole problem isn't so much that it's hard to get the pegs in the hole. The whole thing is the wrist joint moving. That wrist joint wasn't moving around a lot. They would just slide in really nice and easy with no problems. So now we're going to do his dagger. All right. Boom. All right. That pops in. Oops. Stand, buddy. All right. You see the dagger goes in his hand very easily. No issues with that. Pull it on out. Now he has his sword here. Now before we put the sword in the hand, I want to look at it in the scabbard. All right. All right. So that fits very nicely in there. No issues. And the reason why I wanted to put the sword in the scabbard first is because of the factor he also comes with this really nice cloak. Spin. Whoops. He's like, no, I don't want to be spinned. So he comes with this very nice cloak. So I want to see how well this fits on him. All right. The head pops off. Banner the Hawk cloak comes on. All right. So there he is with the cloak. All right. He's being stubborn now. There we go. So the cloak looks really nice on him. And it's a wireframe cloak. So that means you can bend it and shape it however you want. Whether you want it across him or however you want to shape it on him. So that's really nice. I love that they did that with it. And now let's get his sword here. Usually the pommel comes off. Yes, it does. All right. So let's get this in his hand. All right. There's that. And then there's that. Put the pommel on. Boom. All right. So now that sword works really well with him. No issues. So other than some issues that I had putting the hands on, everything else seems to work very well with him. Okay, so let me get into my final thoughts with him. So first off, all his joints work very well with him. No issues with any of his joints. Okay. Everything seems to swap out pretty well. The heads and faces swap out good. His weapons swap out pretty well. The hands are a little bit of an issue. They're a little bit of a struggle just because of how they're designed. The joint wants to move around a lot while you're trying to get the hands on, so it makes it a little bit difficult to get them on. You could try a little bit of heat on the hands. May soften them up enough to where they pop in a little bit easier as that joint's moving around. But the main issue is the factor that the joints move. And I've always seemed to have an issue with most of the figures where the hole is in the hand opposed to the hole being in the wrist because of the factor that wrist joint just wants to move a lot. I find that to be a common problem with any figure that has this type of joint. But once they're on, no issues. As for the look of this figure, I do like the overall look to him. I think he captures the look of the Golden Age gut very well. So would I recommend him? Absolutely. I think he'd be a great piece to go with the rest of your Berserk collectibles, and I would highly recommend this figure to anybody who's a Berserk fan. So with that being said, I hope you guys did like this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my horror and sci-fi playlist, and also check out my new membership program. For a low monthly price, you get a lot of extra stuff that nobody else is going to see. Plus, hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So until the next one, late.